Last here, I am happy to be with you. I have heard many episodes. They were very nice, and it's pleasure to be with you, all of you. And I am interested in to hear you.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Arwa Al Khutabi. And once again, I welcome Ibrahim Al Saydi and Ismail and Noaman with preservation for the titles and names. They are now in a fighter mood to retrieve their own country. And that is enough title for all of us to be gathered around. So when it comes to what we are facing, in my view, is still that Yemen is being sacrificed in a dirty political scandal. Being in Europe, it is also saddening to see that Europe is also being played of human rights, which is equal citizenship. Now, regardless of what they're going to do, if they stand on the side of the Houthi, they are standing on the side of unequal citizenship. No matter how they try to make it look nice or promising that it will not be like that, we know that. We have lived it. And it's not only an action that can be turned. No, it's a principle, it's an ideology. And I excuse everybody that doesn't know what we have lived through over 1,200 years. I excuse them not to know the basis of it. But for me, I appeal to the European nations, to the American people, not to the governments, but to the people. And I'll tell them something. I just received a phone call from an 18 years old man, a young man, who was a former Houthi fighter. Apparently former fighter because he was injured in the battle and severely disabled where he cannot move anymore. Now the phone call is about the following, and he says, we're trying to retrieve the body of the son of my master Abdul Karim. And I said, isn't that Abdul Karim? Isn't your brother with his son? He said, yes, my brother died also with the son of my master Abdul Karim. But we are trying to get the body of my master Abdul Karim, the son of my master Abdul Karim. And I said, what about your brother? And he said, my brother can go to hell in fragments and the dogs can eat him. Who cares? What I care about is the body of the son of my master. Now, this is an 18 years old. When Houthi took over in 6 years ago, this was a child. And he has been brought to believe that he's not an equal citizen to his master, and that the body of his brother can stay there. And as he phrased it literally in Arabic, he said, تروح جثة أخي ترشات وتأكلها الكلاب. As long as we can retrieve the body of the son of my master, Abdul Karim. So this is what we have, what Europe and America are pushing us back into. Should we give in to that? How can we accept that? One basic principle that we know, we will not give in to that. We have tasted freedom and we will fight for it. If we have to continue, start our revolution from the day they push this regime on us, we will start our revolution. In the day they started implementing such regime on the Yemenis are already ready and they have the base already established to lead a revolution against any establishment that will bring us back to unequal citizenship, no matter how it comes or from wherever it comes. I give you the word now, Mr. Ibrahim, to enlighten me. How do you see this?
Well, thank you very much. And I thank Dr. Arwa and His Excellency, the Ambassador Ismail. Well, we should tell the story as it begins in Yemen about 1200 years ago. So the message should go as a story that we tell the public of or the people of the UK, the people of France, the public in America, please hear us and hear this story. The story is that 1200 years ago, Yemen was living a normal life. People were living a normal life. And then some guy, his name is Yahya al-Rassi, from Tabaristan. It's an area or a city in Iran. He came to Yemen to pursue his how we say, his political and ideological dream to rule a country, because he was a descendant of Ali ibn Abi Talib. This guy, Ali ibn Abi Talib, he is the cousin of Muhammad the Prophet. That's what he claimed to be. That was 200 or almost 300 years after the death of the man he claimed to be his descendant of. Anyway, he came. The Yemeni people didn't accept him, so they clashed with him in many occasions, and they had a bloody fights in many areas in that region in particular. Then he asked for more support from his cousins in Tabaristan in Iran. So they sent him another 7,000 to 8,000 people. They came and they supported him. As soon he took over Sana'a, with time, his sons took over Sana'a and other areas, including Najran, which is part of Saudi Arabia today. They have these people around them, which, you know, the 15,000 people from Tabaristan, they were not part of the family which they call descended from this holy bloody bloodline. They included them in their family tree. So they became as descendants from this bloodline, and this bloodline has a holy a holy certificate, or whatever we call it, that they should rule us by iron fist. So we ended up in this dilemma since then until today. The guy who is now ruling Sana'a, he claimed to be descendant from these people. We as Muslims, we as Yemenis, we as human beings, we don't believe in someone is higher than the other. We are equal in every sense.
Superior. This is already criminalized internationally. The human rights first principle is all humans are equal. Again, are we paying the invoice of the Saudis having bad history with the NGOs and the human violations file? Are we paying this invoice for them?
If the question is what you put in is across to me, I would say in short, so I can give space to others to have their say on it. In my opinion, the Americans and the Western institutions, they know exactly what's going on in Yemen. And I know the Americans, until today, since Biden, since the day of his inauguration, until from that day until today, he never mentioned the Republic of Yemen in any of his statements or any of his governments or White House administration press. They never say Republic of Yemen. That means they never speak to us with our sovereignty name as a state. They speak to us as government officials. Government officials can be said about even the Houthis if they want to, and that's what happened recently in Oman. They meet with them secretly and they never mention that. They never show the discussion it's going on. We are talking about that they are meeting today or in the recent weeks because of the peace talk, as we know. But we know that the Americans, they work hand in hand with the Houthis for a long, long time. They work together. Houthi is an instrument used by the Americans and the Iranians as using Yemen as a playground and a ground to manipulate the Gulf states. Doesn't matter. Maybe you change it from an elephant to a donkey, as we say, you know, from a Republican to a Democrat. It doesn't change the policies. Men can change, but policies don't.
That is 100% true. I'd like to see if Mr. Ismail would like to add a word here. Maybe
not much really, but I think your conclusions are correct. What you mentioned at the beginning, you know, that example of that very innocent and naive child, you know, that he doesn't care about his life and the dead body of his brother. He's just concerned, you know, about the dead body of the leader. Is something unbelievable, and we cannot believe it at all, but it's a hard fact, you know. And I think, you know, our friends and those who call for humanity and equality, you know, our friends in the West and America should really study and look into that very carefully, so that when they are trying to get a solution, and as you can see it now, they are trying to pass through, you know, through the normal channels, you know, solutions and change some of the previous resolutions on the issue. They have to take this into consideration. They should emphasize and keep their word on the unanimous resolutions of the مؤتمر الحوار الوطني.
Yep, the national dialogue.
The national dialogue, resolution conference dialogue, in which almost all the main constituents in Yemen took part, including the Houthis themselves, you know, who were at that time, you know, made good and positive contributions, like the two late doctors that you know very well. At the same time, I think also the same thing in Europe. Something has to be done, and we get more in touch with the parliaments in Europe, in Belgium, so that perhaps there could be some influence through the people's representatives, you know, slowly, as governments, as you mentioned, maybe unfortunately have their own views, you know, how to tackle the issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your input. I totally agree with you, but I also have this feeling that it is already too late, and the wave is too high for us to reverse it. Now the facts on the ground, you have the Houthi. He knows nobody on the ground can be as strong as he is now, with the setup as it is now, because the ability for the legitimate government to be formed and operate correctly has been dismantled by all partners, including Europeans, Americans, Saudis, Emirates, everybody. In Qatar, nobody had been supportive to establishing a real government. So I'm not going to say it exists. We still call for a legitimate existence for Yemen, because my biggest problem, and that will be the break point between a Yemeni citizen who is seeking and willing to pay his life to guarantee that there is a civil government in Yemen, there is a civil system, there is a law, there is equal citizenship. And we're not going to give that up, no matter what happens. Now, if they are going to legitimize al-Houthi in any way, shape, or form, we are saying it here up front, the day that Houthi is legitimized is the day the revolution will be announced. And the Yemenis know how to do that. They already have the base. You know what Al-Agyar is all about. We are not a southern country. We did not just happen over the last couple of centuries. We are a nation of thousands of years behind us. We have been put in darkness for some time, but that's not going to be ever happening again. In 1962, we opened our eyes. statement like this we heard in the beginning from the person that is trying to save the body of the son of his master and saying his brother can go to hell. This was something that everybody had before 1962, because they have enslaved us using our own like innocent faith and belief. And that is not going to continue anymore. And after 1962, I can guarantee to them this is not going to happen again in Yemen. And even if they push for it now in some sort of a settlement to sit there, deal with Iran, we will raise the revolution flag the day the Houthi is legitimized. They can take that from us here and now. I will give the word now to Dr. Arwa Khutabi.
Thank you very much indeed. I have heard a lot of things from all of you. I agree with all of you, and I want to mention something. Yesterday, I attended a conference with Yemeni Britain Friendship Organization, and there were 4 people, 2 from Yemen, 2 from Great Britain, from London. One Yemen, the Yemeni guys are Abdul Ghani Al-Iryani and Amat Al-Alim Al-Suswa, and 2 from Great Britain. One he was responsible in the government, and one he is expert. I wonder, yesterday I was shocked about what Abdul Ghani Al-Iryani said. Abdul Ghani Al-Iryani said that the Houthi don't want to talk over Maghreb. He just want to find a way for the negotiation to share oil and gas from Maghreb. As you said, Mr. Muhammad, even though they get or they go to peace with Houthi, it is not our issue. If they sign peace agreement with Houthi, it's not our issue as a Yemeni. Our issue is revolution and republic, Yemen Republic country. We need a civil society, civil government, and we need to be a human being. Houthi considered us as a slave. They were better than Yemenis. I wonder they were better. And one of them said, even though there is a peace agreement with Houthi, it will not stay for a long time, because the Yemeni people, they will not agree with Houthi. And it was clear for this person from Great Britain, but the Yemeni people, they were, I don't know how can describe them.
It's not easy.
Especially Abdul Ghani Al-Iryani. Okay,
yeah, and he's supposed to be one of the. He's not even a Hashimi. He's supposed.
There is something. I said today. I thought a lot about this subject, and then Abdul Ghani Al-Iryani works with Yemen Center for Studies, Yemen Center Studies, which led by Fari Al-Musallami. And this is an American institute. This is not Yemeni institute. It's just the name. It's in Sana'a Center for Studies, but it's just the name of the name. But it is really related to American or to America, and maybe they finance it. And Abdul Ghani Al-Iryani, he was the biggest researcher in the center, and I have this emotion that he want to play the role just the same what the Abdul Karim Al-Iryani played with the Ali Abdullah or Saleh regime. And Abdul Ghani Al-Iryani, he presents himself as a to play the same role in the government of Houthi. That's what I come out.
Based on this, I don't know, twisted mentality that gives them a DNA preferential like superiority. Now, this is saddening to be talking about this now and here in the year 2021, and the United Nations is just ignoring that such like group must be criminalized, not, and then they tell us, no, let's discuss with them peace. How can you to discuss peace with someone who is in the international law already criminalized for like, go ahead, Arwa.
Let me to enlighten one point, very important point. The Hashemite clan, they were for long time engaged. They engaged in the international community. That's why, for example, Amat al-Alim al-Suswa, she was the first minister in the human rights minister. So they engage in the international community. They deal with them. They talk with them. They have the access, the real good access to the international community. You know, most of the most important organization, human rights organization, they lead by Hashemite clan. So they have a lot of history with the outside Yemen. You know, here in Germany, we have Tariq al-Wazir. Tariq al-Wazir, a very important person in Germany. And Tariq al-Wazir, he is close to the Houthi people here in Germany. He talked with a lot of people and he introduced them to the German people. So they have the access for a long time, as they were the ruler for a long time, as Ibrahim said. That's why people, they hear them. You know, there is no organization, terrorist organization has a human rights defender except Houthis. Daesh or defend Al-Qaeda or defend Noor al-Kamil. There is nothing. No, just Houthi. It's interesting. It's really interesting.
Well, I think maybe you have a very valid point when you said they have very good representation outside. And I remember hearing a lady called Aisha Jum'an, and she was explaining what happened in her own town. She said she comes from Gaifa, and she said, in my town we have lived for years under the Al-Qaeda control until the Al-Houthis came and unrooted them. And she used the phrase unrooted them from my hometown, Gaifa. Now we are Al-Qaeda free and we're ready for peace. And she was trying to sell Al-Houthi as the savior that came to save the people. Anyways, this representation will not, in my view, free the American specialists, the European politicians, to not listen to us, but actually listen to Al-Houthi himself. See how he presents himself officially. If he says officially, I am a superior human being, and my war is not based on needs or for my country or protection, it's a war based on instructions from God. And that God sends his instructions to us in our own way. So nobody knows what our future will look like under this kind of mentality that we have to live with, based on the European, the American setup for our solution in Yemen.
Yeah. If you allow me to jump into this, just to recap on some points in relation to their access to positions and so on. This is a normality. We know that they were the most educated because they were ruling Yemen before we took over in 1962. That's when our revolution came, the Republican Revolution. So when we took over, we tried to live with them. We tried to civilize the society. We didn't say that we are the powerful or the winners. We didn't exclude them. No, we include them, and we gave them the best places. We didn't.
And that was the mistake. I'm sorry to say, I've heard this from you before, but this was the mistake. A crime was committed, and innocent people lost their lives and lost their future. And we said, we forgive. No, we shouldn't have forgiven. We should have taken a stand on whoever killed a human. Yeah, go ahead, Arwa.
I'm sorry.
Because I get excited sometimes.
We interrupted Ibrahim. We interrupted Ibrahim, but I understand Ibrahim. And we have to think about القاضي عبد الرحمن البيضاني. الدكتور عبد الرحمن البيضاني. He was the vice president of Yemeni of Al-Sallal, and he threatened Yemeni people. He said, we cannot establish any modern country while these Hashemite people are in Yemen. We cannot. And they think he is he discriminated those people, and the history of this person, the story of this person, they threw him away from Yemen.
Yes,
but it's really after 60 years, just after 60 years, we discovered that he was right. He was not an easy person. He was well educated. He was one of the first people well educated in Germany. He got his PhD in economy from Germany, from Bonn University. He was the most important Yemeni person at that time, and the highest person well educated at that time. But the Yemeni people, they don't hear to him. And he was very innocent. He went to Egypt. He was alone for a long time. He just kept writing his history until he died. And now we came to his statement that the Houthi or the Hashemite clan, they will not let us live as a human people and as equal people.
Equal.
Yeah.
Let me jump into this, if you allow me, Dr. Arwa, just to go back to the subject, the one I wanted just to make a point about this. They tried us. What I'm trying to say, they tried us after the 1962, and we accepted them. We never rejected them. We include them. We never exclude them. We never said that we are, let's say, from, let's say, a different clan. We didn't say that like they do. We never said that we are descendant of a prophet, although we are. If we come to the history background, we came from a prophet. While they are not, and we include them. We try to match and mate, as they say, between the good from both sides. But in the end, with all this background, with all this credit to us as 40 million Yemeni people, we have about 200,000 people who claim falsely and illegitimate claim that they are descended from somebody or somehow, which we don't believe anyway, even if they are. We became the bad now in the eyes of the American administration and the Western administrations. 40 million people, we are the one who are bad, and we should care about Al-Houthi and let him rule us. I'm asking the British and the French and the German people and the Spanish and the Italian and all of these people, I'm asking them, are you willing to accept this claim? They have a holy document or a command being sent down for them from God to rule over you. Don't you see this is worse than Daesh? Don't you see this is worse than Al-Qaeda? I'm asking the British citizen, the British, and I'm asking the French citizen, I'm asking them to open their eyes to what's going on in Yemen, because we are the Yemeni people, 40 million people of us, we don't accept Al-Houthi. Al-Houthi in the past 5 years, he made us starved, and the people, because they're starved, they're trying to live. So when he come to them and tell them, you die or I will give you a gun and you go and fight and I will give you some food for your kids, what do you think the Yemeni person who doesn't have food to feed his kids will do? That's what happened. And you know, that is exactly the issue being hidden from the sphere of the international community and from the public opinion in the European Union and in America. because of the humanitarian AIDS organizations.
Abdul Ghani al-Iryani stated this clearly. He said this resolution must be changed. The situation on the ground is changed, and this resolution must be changed. This is a catastrophe. This is disaster, and we should do together and work together to stop such a catastrophe. Thank you.
Get your military outfit, Dr. Arwa. I'll try to get mine. And the minute that Houthi is legitimized, it is it's our destiny to start a revolution, because there is no way that the Yemeni people will accept once again to go under slavery. No way.
It's not our issue. The peace between Saudi Arabia and Houthi, it's not peace between Yemenis and Houthi.
I mean, take place, as you say, going to change, you know, some resolutions. For us, we should not only say no and not sign, but let us also split, because we don't want this 1948, please allow me here to expand. We don't want this 1948 resolution about Israel and Palestine to repeat itself, in the wrong way. So we should benefit from our historical mistakes. So this group, and I think every time, Dr. Muhammad, we invite one or two distinguished like Arwa, and Arwa, of course, to continue, and one or more from here, from Twitter, from these, you know, you can discuss. And as you said, to exchange views. We have to get the utmost from whatever resolution going to take place. We should not only stay here in Germany, in Gothenburg, in Harrisburg, or Berlin or Frankfurt, and say, well, we don't agree with you. Whatever we can to influence the decision in, at least, if not in Riyadh or in Marib or in Aden, in New York, in the United Nations. Okay, let's make it simple. We have to help them how to get a reasonable resolution. Let's call it this way. You see? So we should not only oppose this because you're going to do that and sit behind. No, we should do something.
A devil's advocate here. You said that we should try to take whatever is given to us and deal with it in the best way possible to go forward. Okay, this is a reasonable statement. Yeah, politicians should work with what is available. But when I know the result of this deal will end up creating an unbalanced situation in the human level of equality.
A simple result of what will be coming out of this resolution or this solution they are tabling, you know, over the table and under the table. It will result in two Yemens. One is ruled by Al-Houthi, which is the north, and one is ruled by the separatists, which they are a tiny small group in the south. That is the deal, Doctor. The legitimate government will be blown out away out of on the wind, and then you tell me to accept this. This is very this is unacceptable in my opinion.
Even thinking, not even to be equal, but to think is not allowed.
Can we just be robots, just to do as we told?
This is what it is.
No, we accept to be slaves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arwa. Let me see if Jihad is honest. He's got his hand up here. Jihad, go ahead.
Yes, hi everybody. I think most of the participants already covered the subject. Just I want to maybe mention one thing extra, because I think we're trying to direct our issues towards the West and seek solution from them.
Yes, they will not.
By the way, they know the situation exactly.
Yes.
We should not waste more time. We should not. I mean, why we have to convince them more and more and all the time? And the situation. Yeah, and we forget our legitimate government. We forget that.
Very weak.
And
it's very weak. This illegitimate.
but okay.
Weak. It makes us sick. It's very weak. It's very corrupted government.
Okay. By the way, the Western, European Union, United States, all of them, they have their own agenda. And what I can notice, Yemen now has been a hostage for their agenda. They're not gonna find a solution for Yemen per se. They're gonna just wait until they find their own solution. There is Iran, there is Gulf countries there, and they have their own solution. Then they're gonna find automatic solution for us overnight.
Yes, they sacrifice.
My point is, why we try to emphasize our situation? We convince sometimes from the United Nations, sometimes from the United States, Western Union. They know. I bet you they know. We
so
pick
what should we do instead, Jihad? Give us a
we should turn our face. We should take our emphasization towards the government, towards the legitimate authority by the president himself. He should take the lead. He should steer the wheel towards everywhere. Everybody. Then our focus should be there. Then we find our solution from there. We should gather Yemeni parties, Yemeni all organizations. We should bother to find solution through there, through the government, through the new authority, new government, new president, new something. We have to find solution from that point. That's the cornerstone of the solution. There. Why we keep looking right and left? We don't gonna find it. Okay. Well, now that's very good to convince ourselves what is the problem. The problem is this: the government. That's the main. We have other problems from other countries, but this sub problems is not the main. Then we have to focus there. Then we try to find some other issues here and there. Then we focus in our problem. The weak government, the weak authority, weak legitimate.
Jihad, I again agree with you 100%. But even Ibrahim said when Joe Biden came and spoke now, he had neglected totally any legitimacy to our government.
By the way, I am here. I'm in the United States. I expect that beforehand. I know it. It doesn't matter legitimate. This just America. They have a policy. They have policy. They don't gonna jump behind over it. They have a policy. There is Iran. There is Israel. There is the Gulf countries. They have to make a balance in the region. Authority. Legitimate for Houthi or they are rebellions. These just names. They can change it easy overnight. They can change it
with names. Let me, Jihad. What do you mean with names? Houthi is not just name. It is institution. It's militia. It's war. It's weapon. It's enforcement. It's everything.
It's racism.
The situation now better than before the 1962.
Apartheid.
It's apartheid.
Catastrophe.
In a way.
Okay.
So guys, I think we've taken longer than expected, by far longer than we expected. It's been more than 1.5 hours. It's been really a nice conversation. We would like to keep this also going. If we can do it weekly, it would be nice. I'm gonna have to work on the editing a little bit, but I think this is enough for today. I will just stop recording and